gotta focus on yourself, on your faith, on your dreams, on your mind, on your health, yeah. You gotta work, never tell, keep your head down, find what you love and excel, yeah.
With storage prices climbing these days, the big question is whether Redmi can still compete as a true flagship brand. Hello everyone, today we're getting hands-on with Redmi's latest flagship, the K100 Pro Max.
A quick shout out to my tech partner from China for sharing this video. A big thank you for making this possible. Hey everyone, it's Michael from Techiestreet. If you love staying updated with the latest gadgets, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on our exciting tech content.
Starting with the design, the K100 Pro Max continues much of the design language we saw last year. The gold-white version we're looking at here keeps things clean, simple, and timeless, while a few small changes make a surprisingly noticeable difference to the overall user experience. Let's take a closer look. The first thing you'll notice is the larger wraparound section of the K100 Pro Max's mid-frame. When you hold the phone normally, more of your palm naturally rests against the aluminum alloy frame, creating a smoother transition from the frame into the rear panel. This gives the phone a rounder, more comfortable feel in the hand, while also making it appear slimmer when viewed from the side. Then we have the four generously rounded corners. These help reduce the discomfort that can come with holding a large-screen smartphone, while also giving the phone a more refined and elegant appearance. There's no denying that when combined with the wraparound mid-frame, the K100 Pro Max has a feel that's quite reminiscent of the iPhone Pro Max. Now let's look at the camera and speaker area, which has a rather sharp visual design. Despite its appearance, the module doesn't feel bulky in the hand. Instead, it uses a smooth, sloping design that almost resembles a small volcanic crater. Compared with the previous generation, the edges have been chamfered more carefully, while the module itself is nearly flat. That makes the phone comfortable to grip whether you're holding it horizontally or vertically. And there's actually a good reason Redmi has put so much effort into improving the phone's ergonomics. After adding a larger battery and upgrading the speakers, the K100 Pro Max now weighs 238 grams. That's 20 grams heavier than last year's similarly white K90 Pro Max, and it's also 0.55 millimeters thicker. With that extra weight and thickness, a more rounded and comfortable design becomes almost necessary to make the phone easier to handle. Of course, this is still an unavoidable trade-off when you're dealing with a large, fully equipped flagship smartphone. If you want something lighter and more comfortable to carry, Redmi also launched the K100 Pro alongside the K100 Pro Max. There's also a small surprise built into the rear speaker area. The K100 Pro Max features a full-width LED ring that can flash along with the rhythm of music, light up intelligently when you get a kill or fire your weapon in games, and provide visual alerts for app notifications and incoming calls. However, the LED ring only supports a single color and can't be customized. On this gold-white model, for example, the lighting is fixed to an orange-red tone. You may have also noticed that the external metal dust cover on the rear speaker has been redesigned into a semi-fan-shaped structure. This helps improve airflow while also providing better dust protection. Internally, Redmi continues to use the massive 1620 dual voice coil subwoofer. And there's another upgrade hidden beneath the surface. The K100 Pro Max's flagship-level symmetrical dual speakers have moved from last year's dual 1115F to dual 1115D speakers, which doubles the low-frequency performance. When combined with the rear subwoofer, the entire setup creates an enhanced, tuned 2.1-channel stereo audio system.
Alright, after spending so much time talking about the hardware on the back of the K100 Pro Max, let's move around to the front and take a look at its massive 6.9-inch flat display. This is the same super pixel lossless arrangement display technology used on Xiaomi's flagship, and it's also the first panel to feature M11 luminescent material. That means we get higher brightness while keeping power consumption lower. But honestly, compared with the less commonly used 4500 nit brightness figure, the much bigger upgrade here is the refresh rate. Redmi has moved up from last year's 120Hz to an industry-leading 185Hz ultra-high refresh rate. The upgraded Agile Touch chip also allows the phone to reach a 480Hz real-time touch sampling rate, along with a 4800Hz sequential touch sampling rate. For gamers who rely heavily on precise micro-operations, this can make a noticeable difference. And speaking of gaming, performance is obviously one of the most important parts of this phone. We've already published a more detailed performance preview, so if you want all the numbers and testing results, you can find that video on our homepage. But to summarize, the K100 Pro Max is powered by the Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Ultra, and in Crossfire's Team Deathmatch mode, it can sustain a native 185 FPS for a full hour without experiencing frame drops. The average frame rate reached an impressive 184.7 FPS. Moving to an even more demanding test, we also tried the Star Iron Gold mode at 994p resolution. After half an hour of testing, the phone managed an average frame rate of 59.4 FPS, which is a very strong result for such a demanding mobile performance test. Now let's move on to battery life and charging. The K100 Pro Max packs a huge 9070 mAh battery with 16% silicon content. According to specifications, the battery can retain more than 80% of its capacity even after 2,000 charging cycles. During our 3-hour combination of everyday use and gaming, the phone used just 33% of its battery. In simple terms, that means the K100 Pro Max can deliver more than 9 hours of screen-on time. And if you're still worried about running out of power, Redmi has equipped the phone with 100-watt wired fast charging and 50-watt wireless charging. During our wired charging test, the battery went from 1% to 19% in just 10 minutes. After 30 minutes, it had reached 56%, and a complete charge to 100% took 67 minutes. Now let's talk about the cameras. The previous generation finally brought a noticeable improvement to Redmi's imaging capabilities, and with the K100 Pro Max, the camera hardware has become even more mature and well-balanced. Starting with the main camera, Redmi has introduced a new 200-megapixel sensor. It's built around Samsung's large 1.156-inch HP5 sensor with an f1.68 aperture, and there's also a dedicated 200-megapixel shooting mode. So let's take a look at some of the 200-megapixel samples. Even when we zoom into the photos at 100%, distant posters and text from concerts remain surprisingly clear. You can also make out plenty of detail in faraway trees, road signs, and vehicles. For landscape photography, this extra resolving power can definitely come in handy. In the standard shooting mode, the 24mm main camera also delivers solid dynamic range and overall image quality. For telephoto photography, the K100 Pro Max continues to use a 5x periscope telephoto camera with an equivalent focal length of 120mm. It uses a 50-megapixel Samsung GN5 sensor and also supports optical image stabilization. In certain situations, having a real optical telephoto lens can make a huge difference. Whether you're trying to capture compressed city scenes with a more cinematic perspective or shooting at a concert from a distance, the K100 Pro Max handles both scenarios very well. Even in challenging low-light environments such as concerts, its 10x lossless digital zoom can still produce images with very little blur. The results are good enough that you can share them directly on social media without needing to spend time editing them first. And with that, we've reached the end of our full review of the Redmi K100 Pro Max. Hopefully this review gave you a clear idea of what the phone has to offer and whether it lives up to the flagship name. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!